of you feel like you are super busy and there's not enough hours in the day? Let me know if you feel like that. Okay, I totally understand that. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I got started in this industry and I was working full time. How many of you are working? Maybe you're working full time or you have busy schedules. I have 4 children. How many of you have kids, right? We know what that means. And at that time when I got started, you guys, I had my youngest was 7, my oldest was 13 years old. And I was kind of like a single mom because my husband, even though I was married, he would leave early Monday morning, like 4 in the morning, and he would not come home until late Friday night or even early Saturday morning. So I was home with the babies while he was traveling. He would go to other states and build a business that we had. And you guys, I remember just being so busy and feeling completely overwhelmed with my 4 kids because they were in a million activities. I was driving them. None of them could drive yet, right? So they had soccer, they had basketball, football, drama, piano. Moms, any moms relate to this, right? And I remember when I first got in the industry thinking, am I absolutely insane to think that I could actually do something else? But I knew that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? And so I was super busy. I got started, and here's what happened. Nothing happened in my business. And that's because nothing changed. How many of you would agree that if we keep to the same schedule, right? No change equals what? No change, right? And if we want big changes in our life, then we've got to do something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I knew that I had to make some changes. So I'm going to ask all of you a question first. I want you to drop it in the chat and tell me, what are your goals for this year? Like what is your goal by December 31st? Intronaut, what is your plan? What are you planning on doing? Just drop that in the chat and let me know what's your big goal for 2024. Okay, I see diamond, I see emerald, diamond, I love it. Okay, black diamond, I love it. Emerald, okay, awesome, awesome. Now, the next question I'm going to ask you, and if you haven't dropped it in the chat yet, make sure you drop in the chat what your plan is for 2024. There's no wrong answer, by the way, okay? This is what you want. This is what you're creating. Remember that you are the producer, you are the creator, you're the director of your life. So you have written the script that you have today. Now, if you want to change that script, here's the cool thing. You absolutely can, because you are the producer, the director, the screenwriter of your life. You can rip up that script and we can start a new script today. I love that. I love the power of change. And I will tell you that I have a great story about that because I was a preschool teacher. I struggled in this industry. And then one day I made a decision that, you know what? No more am I going to struggle. I am going to make some changes. I'm going to do something different. And guess what? Because I decided to do something different, I got different, better results. So the next question I'm going to ask you, and I want you to drop it in the chat. I see a lot of you. Man, I love these goals. Diamond, emerald, ruby, sapphire. I love it. Personal growth. That's good too. Okay. Let me ask you the next question. What are you doing differently to get that result, to get the goal that you've set out? What is the one thing or 2 things or 3 things that you are doing differently in your daily schedule to get the results? Because here's the deal. Here's what you got to understand. And it took me a while to figure this out. But my health, okay, my finances, the picture of my life right now today, they are the results that I have with my health, with my finances, are determined from what I did in the last 90 days. Does this make sense? It's my daily schedule that I had in the last 90 days that got me to where I am today. So, you know, what are you doing differently to get the results that you truly want to have? So I'm seeing different things coming in, being consistent and intentional with my DMO. I love it. Reaching out, follow-ups. Okay, so keep dropping it in, or think about, if you don't want to even drop it in, just think about, what am I doing differently? Okay, to get the results that I want in the future, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about how to work smarter rather than harder. Does that sound good? And I really want you to think about what you're saying to yourself every single day. Something that really changed for me is I used to say all the time, I have a million things to do. Well, you know what? Your brain does exactly what you tell it to do. And so if you say, oh my gosh, I have a million things to do, what does that do? That just weighs your brain down or weighs your body down. And it can sometimes paralyze you because your mind is like, oh my gosh, I can't get a million things done, right? So I'm just gonna stop right now, and I'm just gonna go sit down and I'm gonna watch TV. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. So change what you're saying to yourself too. And instead, think of the top 3 things that you could do that day to move your life forward. When I started doing that, things changed for me because everything was crystal clear. And it's like, okay, what are the top 3 priorities that I've just got to get done today? And secondly, instead of always saying, I'm so busy, oh my gosh, I'm just too busy, I don't have any time to do anything. You know, we have this self-talk that goes through our mind all the time. But understand that we prioritize anything that we want to get done. Okay, so if you have those top 3 things on your mind, you're gonna get those 3 things done, and then work on the next 3 things and the next 3 things, rather than a million things that I got to get done and then we get nothing done, right? Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about, what do I have here? Well, first of all, most people get started in the business and they're super excited, right? And they're going to build a multi-million-dollar business. And then what happens? Well, if you guys were like me when I first got started, I was super excited. I had these big goals, but then because I didn't change what I was doing in my daily schedule, I was treating it like a hobby, right? I wasn't making this business a priority. And consequently, guess what? I wasn't getting any results. Now, most people, what they do, I call that a wantrepreneur, by the way, rather than an entrepreneur. Okay. And if you were at our training, you know, at National, we talked a little bit about this. But in my very beginning stages, I was a wantrepreneur. I wanted the things, but I wasn't taking action in my daily schedule every single day to get the results. So it wasn't until I shifted my mindset that I'm building a multi-million-dollar business. I'm going to treat this like a multi-million-dollar business. I'm going to be an entrepreneur rather than a wantrepreneur. I'm going to change some things, little things, and we exploded. In fact, with this one mindset shift, I went from struggling for 4 months, okay, with only 12 people on my team, after really like jumping on all the calls, doing the things, to within 60 days, we had over 300 people join our organization with massive momentum. We rose straight to the top and created a 7-figure a year income and made over 8 figures in that arena because of what I'm going to talk to you about today. See, everything that you want, it all happens in what you do every single day. It all happens in your daily schedule, your daily method of operations, okay? So really think about this and understand success isn't going to be found in our lazy boy, right? Watching TV. Success is not going to be found not being intentional. See, a lot of people, they keep doing the same thing over and over again, but they're just taking what life gives them, right? And usually that's the scraps of life. And if you haven't read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon, I almost said Napoleon Dynamite, Napoleon Hill. I don't know where that came from. Okay, but if you haven't read that book, Outwitting the Devil, it's an excellent book talking about how 98% of the people out there are drifters. What that means is that we just take whatever life gives us. We're not being intentional about, okay, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. Instead, it's like, wonder what I'm going to do today. Man, I wish that would work for me. But not being intentional about, I'm going diamond. I'm making this happen. I'm doing this. I'm going to reach out to this many people a day. I'm going to connect with this many people and do that, right? Be intentional. Only 2% of the people out there are intentional. Consequently, this is why, right? 97 to 98% of the people are living paycheck to paycheck, and 3% are wealthy. So be one of those 3%ers. Be intentional. We're going to talk about being intentional today and making it happen. Being a leader in your business rather than managing your business, leading your life rather than just taking the scraps that are coming to you, right? This is so, so important. Another thing is success is not found in scrolling through social media or posting and praying, right? Success is found by you being 100% intentional and taking on your daily schedule. Okay, so did I hammer that enough? One more little thing, okay, because it all starts in our mind. Okay, one more little thing. I'm going to throw this out there. If you feel like you don't have any time, you're like, Mindy, listen, you don't understand. I work full time. I have little babies. I totally get this because that was me. In fact, I would have been the one on a call like this if I heard this saying, no, you don't understand. I have 4 little kids. None of them can drive. They have all these millions of activities. I have a million things to do. These were all the things that were going on in my head. I'm on a salary job. I work, morning till faint, whatever it is, right? I have a house to clean. I have all these things. Like I had really legit excuses, but here's what I'll tell you. None of my excuses made me any money. I want you to write this down. My excuses don't make me money. Okay. Okay. Excuses don't make us money. And so it's important, right, that we focus on, okay, what makes me money? What can I do differently? So I want you to think about how you spend your time. And when I really broke this down, this is when everything shifted for me in my mindset. Okay. There are 24 hours in a day, and minutes are non-refundable. The most precious thing that we have in our life, you guys, is our time. It's more precious than anything else. So how are you spending your time? Minutes are non-refundable. Write that down too. Every minute, like this minute right now, is precious and we're never going to get it back. So make sure that every minute you are spending it wisely to move you forward, to get you the dreams that you truly want to give. So, or to get. Okay, so there are 24 hours in a day, and I broke this down. If you took 7 hours to sleep, okay, so out of the 24 hours, let's say you slept 7 hours, and then you worked 8 hours at your regular job. And let's say that it took you an hour to travel to that job. Okay, maybe you have to commute and it takes you an hour to travel to that job. And then let's say it takes you 2 hours to get ready every day, which, man, that would be amazing, right? Moms, if you had that much time to get ready. But let's just say that it took you 2 hours to get ready every day. And then let's say that you spent 2 hours of quality time with your loved ones every single day. Okay. And let's say that you spent an hour of personal growth on yourself personally for you every single day, whether it be fitness, it's personal growth, whatever it is. Okay. But this 1 hour is all for you, moms. Okay. And dads, if there's dads on here. Okay. And then let's say that you spent 3 hours of concentrated effort or concentrated effort, concentrated effort towards your business. Okay. 3 hours. You spent that on your business every single day. Okay. And let's just say that you took Sunday off completely. Sunday was completely off. And we know that on Saturdays, we're not working 8 hours most of the time, right? And so Saturday, you have that whole 8 hours that you would normally work. That's free time for your family. You only spent 3 hours a day. Okay. So if you did 3 hours a day of concentrated effort on your business, 6 days a week, that is going to be 18 hours a week of concentrated effort on your business. Now, if you spend that 18 hours wisely, it's powerful. I'm going to show you what it means, okay? But in 12 months, by you doing this, that would be 936 hours of concentrated effort on your business in a year, okay? And let's just say you take 2 weeks off. Okay, 2 weeks off a year, so you're doing nothing. Well, you still have 900 hours in the year towards your multi-million-dollar business. Now, I'm going to show you something, okay? If you had 900 hours towards your business in 1 year, and it was only you didn't depend on anybody else in your business, not one other person. It was only you that was bringing all the recruits in, bringing all the customers in, only you, which I don't recommend. I recommend leveraging yourself, bringing a team in, right? But let's just say it was only you doing that. Okay, well, if you had 900 hours in the year, and you just did 10 peaks for each hour. Okay, does this make sense? Which, by the way, okay, peaks, if you're wondering what a peak is, that's like piquing somebody's interest about Trinot. Okay, so what makes us money in Trinot? By the way, I want you to drop it in the chat. Tell me, what do you think the activities that we need to do make us money? Just drop it in the chat. Is it posting on social media? Does that make us money? Or is it watching TV? Obviously, that's not it. Okay, I'm seeing it. Messenger, right? Messenger makes us money. Connecting with people. The only thing that makes us money, by the way, is talking to people about Trinot specifically. That's the only thing that makes us money. Now, there's different ways that we talk to people about Trinot to make us money, but ultimately actively talking to them to either acquire them as a customer or a business partner. That is what makes us money. If you're doing any other things outside of that, that's not actively in pursuit of that, it's not going to make you any money. Okay, so think about this. When I pique somebody's interest, let's see how long that takes. In fact, let's just pretend that I see Deanna Bivens on social media, okay? And I don't know her, and I've been kind of connecting with her by doing engagement, okay? And then all of a sudden, I'm like, man, I loved that last post. I love her drive. I love her attitude. I love her passion for health. I'm going to take a little screenshot of it, and then I drop in Messenger. Here's what's going to make me money, right? Do a screenshot of a post that I just loved on or whatever. And I'm going to say, Deanna, listen, I've been watching you. Okay, so somebody, by the way, somebody get your stopwatch out, and I want you to tell me how long this takes me to say this. Okay, somebody get that out. Or in fact, I'm just going to, I want to see if I can see you. Will somebody get their phone out and just time me? Okay, Stephanie, you time me, okay? Okay, so, Deanna, oh my gosh, I have been watching you. I love your drive. I love your passion for health. I'm going to ask you a crazy question. Do you keep your business options open? Okay, stop the watch. How long did that take me, Stephanie? Drop it in the chat. Here, let me unmute you.
14 seconds.
How long did it take, Deanna?
14 seconds.
14 seconds. Okay, 14 seconds for me to do that. Do you think I could do 10 of those a day? And would it take me a full hour a day or a full 3 hours a day to ask that question to 10 people, right? So do we make this really complicated, by the way? Absolutely, we make this complicated, okay? But that's what makes me money, is that actual ask. Okay, so when I figured this out, I mean, this is really when I exploded. I realized all of my excuses are lame. They're not making me any money. I listened to Darren Hardy. So Darren Hardy, he wrote The Compound Effect. He also was, I think he was the editor or producer or something of Success Magazine. But anyway, he had an official title there. And one little story that I heard from him changed my world. He talked about a stopwatch and the power of a stopwatch. And he talked about how, when he first was on his pursuit to have success in his life and he had big dreams, he was out there, he was a real estate agent. And, he was working really hard, sometimes 40, 60, 80 hours a week, but he wasn't getting the results that he wanted. And he said, man, I was so busy, but I just wasn't making it happen. And I couldn't figure out why there were all these top producers. And then there was me I was willing to do whatever it takes. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are willing to do whatever it takes? Like, you're like, Mindy, you tell me what to do and I'm going to go do it. See, that was me. But then I kind of realized maybe I wasn't, because my schedule wasn't showing that I was willing. Okay. But we'll talk about this. But it wasn't until I realized, oh my gosh, the stopwatch thing. So Darren Hardy, okay, this was him. He was out there and he was working really hard. And then he, got with a mentor or something. And his mentor said, well, what does your schedule look like every day? And he's like, I don't know, I'm super busy. And I'm getting to people. I've got emails to get to. I've got calls to make. And he said, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. What makes you money in real estate? And Darren, just like in network marketing, right? Just like here at Turnant, he said, well, it's talking to people. It's either talking to them about buying a house or selling a house, period. That's what makes me money. Like, if they buy a house or they sell a house, that's what makes me money. And he said, okay, well, then I want you to get a stopwatch and I'm going to challenge you to set the stopwatch and keep track of how much time you're spending on asking the question, hey, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to sell a house? And how much time truly in a day are you spending on the things that matter, right? That's going to make you money. And it was mind blowing to Darren. He said that he would take a stopwatch and he would go and he would only set it when he was actually spending the time asking that question. Hey, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to sell a house? Or in the pursuit of buying a house or selling a house, right? Any conversations he would have, whether it be on the phone or like going door to door and prospecting people and saying, hey, I just sold a house over here. Your neighbor told me about you. Are you in the process of thinking about buying or selling a house? Anyway, long story short, he realized that his time spent on actually doing the work that makes us money was like an hour or 2 hours a day, not 8, 10, 12 hours a day that he was working like crazy. And I was like mind blown when I heard that. I was like, oh my gosh, I am doing things that are not making me money. I am a entrepreneur. I am not an entrepreneur. I got to change what I'm doing. I'm a manager. I'm not a leader. I'm going to start leading my life. And one part of this is it made me make a schedule for myself. So this is the first thing that I recommend. You have decided you own a multi-million-dollar business, right? If you have decided that, which by the way, when you signed up in Turnant, you signed up to start a multi-million-dollar business if you choose to do so. You get to choose, right? But you have an opportunity to do that. So how do you do that? Well, first, what does a multi-million-dollar business owner do? Every day they show up, right? You know, with my franchise, so many years ago, Jeremy and I, we were in the franchise world. And every day I would have to show up to the office and open the doors, right, to be in business so I didn't lose my home, right? I wasn't going to get any sales if I didn't show up every single day. Nobody was going to walk in that door. Nobody was going to, call. Well, they'd call, but nobody was going to be answering that phone unless I was there, right, to make it happen. I had to show up every single day. And it's funny, we treat this like, and then here I had this opportunity with this franchise and I treated it like a big business. And I didn't even have the opportunity that I have here in Trinot. Like the power of what you have in your hands is unbelievable. And when you figure that out, that you have an opportunity to own your own online franchise. See, that's what I figured out. I have an online franchise business where I can bring on as many business partners, leverage myself, build a multi-million-dollar business into all over the world, right? Work from wherever and create a life on my own terms, make as much money as I want to make without all of the overhead, without all of the stuff, right? When I figured that out, I was mind blown. And I realized I got to treat this like a multi-million-dollar business. I've got to make a schedule for myself. That's the first thing. And I've got to block my time and prioritize, because we get anything done when we prioritize it, by the way, right? I've got to prioritize on making this happen. And when I did that, okay, and I really took on the power of the stopwatch. Truly, it was like, I am intentional here. I'm intentional here. Everything exploded. My family life exploded. Everything exploded. So I'm going to give you a few tips on what I did many, many years ago that helped me go from struggling entrepreneur to top producer in this industry. So one of the tips was I did make an actual schedule. And I stuck to that schedule as if I was going to my job every single day on my multi-million-dollar business. Okay. Now, when I made that schedule, I enrolled my entire family and everybody around me on that schedule. And I said, listen, in order to get to the next level of our life, we got to do things differently. Right. And I got everybody in my life excited about what we were doing, how we were changing, little things like my hubby loves to watch TV, like loves it. Okay. And it's not really my jam. I mean, I like to watch TV with him because he loves it so much. But for me, it's not my thing. Like, I don't really, I could not watch it at all. Like, I didn't really grow up watching TV. He grew up watching TV. Okay. So one of the things I said is, listen, that TV is not making us any money. Okay. I love you, but we got to go and we got to go make some things happen. Instead of watching everybody else's life change, we're going to make our life change, right? This was 20 years ago. And so just that little shift in that changed everything. If you think about it, if you watch one episode a night, that's an hour of your life that you gave away to somebody else, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, right? And so that was one thing that we shifted, and he was all on board too. He's like, dang, if we can go make, a lot of money and do this, I'm all about this, right? And so it was little things. It was talking to my kids. See, my kids, when they realized what we were changing, okay, in our life, they got excited. They'd never been to Disneyland. And I said, okay, listen, Mom wants to take all of you to Disneyland. Mom wants to be able to do some of these things that we've always wanted to do, but we haven't been able to do, right? I sat them down and I said, what gets you excited about this? And they had their own dreams. And then what I did is I made a little thermometer. Okay. So think about this. If you have little kids, this is a great idea. If we have 3 lines of business, right? And in order to get to, let's just say it's Diamond. Okay. In order to get to Diamond, you need about 33,000 in one line, 33,000 in another line, 34,000 in another line, something like that, right? In volume. You don't necessarily need all of it exactly that way, but you guys get my point. We want to be as balanced as we possibly can. So get a little thermometer and fill in where you are in each line, and then have your kids fill it up as you are, having to leave them to make phone calls or do the things that you have to do. My kids got so excited about that. They would fill it in. Okay, how close are we? Okay, how close are we? Mom, get out the door. Mom, make another call. Mom, get into your office, and you got to go do the thing. And back then my office was my bedroom. Okay. But whatever it is, okay, my kids were kicking me out and saying, no, you can't hang out with us right now. You got to go get that done because we're going to Disneyland. You see what I'm saying? So get your family enrolled into what you're creating, or the people around you, to get them to support you and your schedule. Now, my schedule looks something like this. I knew that every day I had to personally, wanted to personally grow. But a mentor told me many years ago, if you have challenges or problems, you can overcome any of those challenges through personal growth. You just have to become bigger than those challenges, right? And so I knew in order to take my life to another level, I had to get better personally, because I attract to me who I am, right? So I had to get better with people skills. I had to get better with leadership. I had to become a better closer, better at persuasion, all of those things. And so every day on my drive to work, 'cause I committed to listening to successful people on personal growth. Okay. And that was and I wouldn't listen to music. I love music, but I was not doing that at that time. That was my commitment on my way to work, on my drive home. And that was like a 30-minute drive there and 30-minute back. So that gave me a lot of time to think. If you think about it, where you're driving every single day, you can personally grow that way. So that was one of the things I did. The other thing I did is I either made my list of the top 3 things that I had to do the night before or that morning before I took off on my drive. Okay. Another thing is I always say top 3 priorities. When I stopped saying I have a million things to do and all the things in my head, and they just kind of washed around in my head, and then I got nothing done. It was like when I felt overwhelmed, which I still do this today, I write down every single thing that I have to do. Like, get all those thoughts out of your head, okay? Put them on paper, and then prioritize where they go. Like, for example, I have family things I have to do. I have finance things I have to do. I have Trinot things I have to do, right? Like, get them prioritized and then block your time. So I had time blocking even before I even knew what time blocking was. 20 years ago, I time blocked. One of the things that I thought about for my kids is, what's the most important thing I can do with my kids? One of the, I used to spend a lot of time with my kids, but it wasn't quality time. It was like me cleaning toilets while they're like doing other things, or me like running around. Moms, you know what I'm talking about, right? It was instead of like actually having that quality time in those conversations with them, it was like just running around like a chicken with my head cut off, yelling at them. They need their shoes, they need this, they need that. And like, there was no quality time. And so I decided, no, I am going to do things differently. And I'm going to block out what's the most important time of the day with my kids is right when they come home from school. And so instead of me trying to make phone calls while I'm like talking to them and doing all these things, I'm actually going to spend 100% focus time with them. I'm going to turn my phone off. My team's going to know that this is my time when I'm with my kids, for that time when I'm getting them their snacks. I'm talking to them about their homework. I'm spending that quality. They know it's 100% focus time. I'm not on the phone. I'm not doing anything else but that. Okay. But then they also know, okay, now once we do that, okay, then from my schedule was from 3 to 5 was my kids' time. And then 5 I got other people to carpool so they could drive my kids around. Okay. And I did that as well, but I instead of me taking my kids everywhere, I carpooled. So then I was taking other kids, but I condensed my time down. Does this make sense? Eventually hired a maid. I didn't have the money to hire a maid in the beginning, but that was my goal because that really, spending that time cleaning and doing all those things wasn't getting me the results I want. It wasn't giving me any quality time with my family or my business or anything else. Okay. So really think about what's important to you. See, what was important to me was quality time with my family, quality time with my kids. And so I set that up. The kids knew from 6 to 8 o'clock, mom's doing her business, right? Or whatever it was that I had. And so block out time. When's your family time? When's your business time? And then get committed to that stopwatch. So that daily 5 that we talked about, the daily 5 where you grow personally, right? For 15 minutes, connect, market yourself, and then prospect or ask the question and then follow up. You could literally put a stopwatch on. I've done this many times. I put the stopwatch on and I say, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to ask at least 10 people this question. For the next 15 minutes, I'm going to follow up and I'm going to stop as soon as it's done, but it's going to be concentrated effort. There's no scroll roll in Facebook. There's no answering a phone call while I'm trying to do this. And, first of all, I probably have ADD. I mean, like, seriously, I'm like a squirrel. Like, if I get on a call, I'm doing this, and then I get on a call, then I'm on to another thing, and I'm on to another thing. And so the stopwatch helps me so much because it keeps me focused and I'm not doing anything else until that 15 minutes is done. And the cool thing is, okay, is maybe you don't have a full hour to go through the full daily 5, okay, or daily 4. What if you have 15 minutes here, you have 15 minutes there, you have 15 minutes here, and you have 15 minutes here, but you've blocked out that time? Or what if you have 30 minutes here, 30 minutes, you've committed to 3 hours, like we talked about here. Okay, now I'm going to back this up because I said if you had 900 hours a day or 900 hours a year in your business, that's 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. Taking 2 weeks off in a year. Okay, we're going to go back to this because I did say that if this was only your effort, you could go diamond in 1 year, by the way, all on just your effort. Let me tell you how. If you have 900 hours in a year and each hour you only peaked 10 people, okay, which by the way, I showed you that it doesn't take an hour to peak 10 people. It takes 15 seconds to peak 1 person. So whatever that is, okay, that would be 9,000 peaks that you did if you just did 10 peaks an hour. Does this make sense to you? So we're going to say you're following up, you're doing the other things too. Okay. But 9,000 peaks in a year that you personally did. Okay. So let's just say 30% of the 9,000 peaks actually looked at the business. Okay. 30%, 70% said, I don't even want to look at it, but 30% actually looked at the business. That would be 2,700 people that actually saw the business. Could either be a customer or a business partner. Well, for every 5 people that see the business, usually 1 will join as an associate. So plus you're going to get a whole bunch of customers from this. I didn't even count the customers. I'm only counting the associates. Okay. So if you have 2,700 that see this, you divide that by 5, you're going to sign up 540 personals in a year. If they each just did an average of 200 PV, that's 108,000 for Diamond. I'm not including all of the customers that you're going to get from the 2,700 people that look at this. Does this make sense to you? Like, I hope that blows your mind. I'm only telling you this, not necessarily to follow this, but to let you know if it's to be, it's up to me. Like, you have the power to write your own check. If you want to be a diamond this year, you can do it by yourself. I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying let's get as many people in your team doing this with you, right? Leverage yourself, show this to your team, get them excited about the daily 5. You and them do this together. But I will tell you, there is so much power in getting focused, being intentional, and understanding that these excuses aren't making us money, right? And when I figured that out, you guys, I exploded. And I know if I can do it, each and every one of you can do it. There is no reason why you can't have the success that you truly want. You have the power. It's not about your ability, it's about your commitment. Okay. So get committed to a schedule, make a schedule for yourself. I'm going to tell you some last little things that make us money. Okay. Anything that has to do with you actively getting a customer or associate. So prospecting, obviously, right? Do you keep your business options open? Hey, can I add you to a Facebook group to learn more about a product? That's all making you money, okay? Welcome calls. So if I were you, I would draw your entire team out today. I would put a heart on everybody that's brand new. I would put a star on anybody that came to national with you. Okay. Those are the people that we're going to work with, that you're going to work with. Any of the hearts, okay, any of the hearts, you're going to want to call and do welcome calls. That's going to make you money, okay, because that's actively working with a brand new person, which is the heartbeat of your business. And the whole goal of that is to find out who they know, right? And to help them bring on customers and business partners. Okay. So that is also going to make you money, making those welcome calls. Following up. Why is following up making you money? Because following up is making more prospecting happen, right? In your business. Following up is either getting them as a customer or a business partner, and making more things happen. Presenting is making you money because you are actively in pursuit of a customer or a business partner. Okay. So all of these things, the biggest presenters, okay, they're making the most money. And if you look in your team, if you want to know who the leaders are, they're not the ones with the ranks. They're the ones that are actually presenting. They're the ones that are doing these things that we're talking about. Okay. So all of these things. So I challenge you, make a schedule for yourself, block out your time, and realize there are 24 hours in a day. Minutes are non-refundable, but you have that extra time. You just have to look at that in the cracks of your life and where can you pull that time to go make this happen. Okay, I am so excited for all of you. I hope this gets you fired up. I hope that you see that you have every opportunity to win. And let's go kill it. Let's go make some things happen. One thing that I'm going to close with is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Is that right? Yes, 8 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow morning. I am going to do a work with me with all of you, whoever wants to work with me tomorrow morning. And we are going to be in actively pursuit of customers and business partners for you. And so bring your schedule, okay, or your names list. Bring your names list tomorrow morning. We're going to do a Zoom, and it's going to be on my personal link. So I'll get that flyer out right when we're done. You and your team, whoever wants to work with me tomorrow morning, we're going to have 1 hour to make some big things happen. We're going to do the stopwatch mentality, and we are going to actively peak. We're going to actively work on names list and follow-ups, all those things. But let's go make it happen tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, on not this link, actually, my link, but I'll get that to you. Okay. You guys are the best. I'm so excited for you. Let's go kill it. And we'll see all of you at all of our events we have going on, and for sure tomorrow morning to